right, folks, we're back with another Couch Potato General Manager video. What should the Detroit Lions do with the first overall pick in the 2022 NFL Draft? Put polls in the community tab as well on Twitter in terms of what the Lions should do with the first overall pick in the 2022 NFL Draft. Of course, the Lions got their first win. You know what I'm saying? Lions got their first win, man. I was pulling for them too, man. I was literally cheering as I'm watching the red zone. I was literally cheering for them. You know what I mean?
Is your boy Kirk Cousins out there doing his thing?
Playing
the other side of the coin, bro.
The heater ran out of gas. You know what I'm saying? So, but we posed the question on those platforms in terms of whether or not get a sense of what the masses thought about whether Detroit Lions should invest that first overall pick in a quarterback, whether they should trade down or simply take the best player available. And now, you may be in the camp of Thibodeau from Oregon, the edge, or the edge, Aiden Hutchinson from Michigan. So 3 options here, Drew. 3 options here. What do you do? If the Fords hired you and you're the GM, you got full controls, you got full autonomy, what are you doing with the first overall pick?
I'm looking at my roster. I'm looking on my offensive side. I'm looking on the defensive side, seeing what we have in terms of money and free agency. What are we going to do there? And to me, just looking at this team, man, they're worst roster in the league. I thought it might have been the Texans, because I was poo-pooing on them boys all off season. But no. It's definitely the Lions. And you see it out there with Jared Goff. I know he ain't playing all that well, but he ain't got a lot of help out there either. And so for me, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to trade down and try to load this roster up. And this will be a slow build. This is not going to be a reset. It's not going to be a quick thing. This is going to be, Fords, listen, this is the game plan. We're going to trade down. We're going to gather our picks. We're going to do what Cleveland did, right? So we can hit on our picks and do the right thing, right? So that's kind of where I sit. I don't, man, if you're putting a gun in my hand and say, hey, Drew, you've got to make this pick though. Like you can't trade it or what you're being offered isn't enough, which is a possibility. Takes 2, obviously, right?
Right.
I'm going to go quarterback and I'm going to go Malik Willis.
Okay.
I'm going to take a guy who's uber talented and can make up for some of the deficiencies in terms of our offense. We're going to load up in the offseason in terms of free agency, trying to load up on those receivers, get that talent in there. And to me, I don't know if you do it correctly in free agency. For me, when you look at the 2 sides of the ball for the Lions, I think the defense has a lot more to go than the offense for me. I feel if you get some receivers and you put a quarterback in place, it may not be might not be super great in the beginning, but I think it's something towards the end of the season of next year that you're going to start to see the fruits of that labor. But again, Willis, he's Showtime, man.
Yeah.
Get your popcorn ready.
He's definitely dynamic. I tend to agree with you in terms of frankly, I come from the school of Jimmy Johnson, right? So I wanna gather as many picks as I possibly can. You know what I mean? Right. I'm gonna trust my ability to identify talent. Now, the Detroit faithful, they may not necessarily feel like this particular group has an understanding of that, but I'd give Brad Holmes the benefit of the doubt. It's a new management group there, right? But I'm at the controls. Assuming I'm at the controls, I'm with you. I'm planning on trading down to give me more chances at this. I don't know that there's that slam dunk quarterback, right, at the top of this class. Talked about this offline, and Headley brought up the Cincinnati Bengals, but I don't consider the Bengals in Detroit to be an apples to apples comparison, right? Because the reality is that the Bengals, since moving away from being more on the frugal side and opening up those purse strings a bit, they have been able to bring in a certain level of talent and get that talent together. And of course, they've drafted well. They that's one thing that they have done is they've drafted pretty well as well. So you got Burrow, who puts together, a phenomenal season. You know what I mean? You've been missing a quarterback since about Andy Dalton. You haven't had a franchise guy in my eyes since Carson Palmer. So you drop in Joe Burrow. He gets his teeth kicked in his first year, right? Doesn't even finish the season. You know what I'm saying? But we continue to stuff that roster with talent. You know what I mean? Add more weapons. You know what I mean? As he's been healthy and they've made Joe Mixon the linchpin of their offense, you've seen the progress. You've seen what those draft picks and those free agency acquisitions on the defensive side of the ball have done, right? But we're talking about Detroit here, man. You know what I'm saying? I think for one, it's not the easiest to attract free agents to play in Detroit. Right now, we're expecting the salary cap to go up, so they'll be able to overpay in certain instances. But still, Detroit has a much longer history of losing than the Cincinnati Bengals. You understand what I'm saying? Right. So to me, it's more of a rebuild. It's more of a rebuild there. And on top of that, the reason why I shy away from quarterback in particular is because they had Matthew Stafford. They didn't have the rest of it. In the few seasons that they did, they made a run to the playoffs, right? In the few seasons that they did. But generally speaking, it's been Matthew Stafford and a bunch of guys. Just a bunch of guys. After Megatron, after Sue left, it was just a bunch of guys, right? And the result of that was a lot of losing and Matthew Stafford getting his back broken. Yeah. So do you drop a young quarterback who may not necessarily be as gifted a passer as Matthew Stafford, right, into this situation and just go through that process again? I'm not in favor of that. I'm not in favor of that. I think while there's a few things to hang your hat on, I think they got the makings of a quality offensive line there. Got DeAndre Swift is obviously a guy I like. You got some young receivers that I think can be complementary guys, not necessarily the guy, right? Got a tight end there that I like as well. But I don't think across the board, organizationally, both sides of the ball, they are good enough to drop a rookie quarterback in there and say, okay, young man, you might take a little bit of a beating here, but we're going to be up and running here in a year or so, a year and a half. Like you said, this is a much longer project here.
Yeah, it is.
Much longer project. So if gun to my head, I had to actually make this pick. If I was forced to make this pick, I wasn't getting the compensation that I was looking for in terms of trading down. I'm probably going best player available. It's like you said, we need to add talent. We need to add impact talent. Give me Aiden Hutchinson. Give me Thibodeau. Whatever flavor, whatever floats your boat with respect to that, and continue to add high-level talent to a roster that has a dearth of talent. Right? Let's not drop a quarterback in here to go the way of Matthew Stafford. Mind you, a guy that we may not necessarily be convinced is as good as Matthew Stafford was coming out. You understand what I'm saying? That's kind of my thought process here with from a place to live perspective. There's a challenge with respect to that.
Yeah.
Some guys want Hollywood. Some guys want limelight. I think when it comes to dollars and cents, they'll be able to compete, but that's not the end all be all for everyone. You understand what I'm saying? So like I said, I fear that if you go Malik Willis, right? Or you go Sam Howell. I'm just throwing the
Desmond Ritter
quarterbacks. Desmond Ritter, your boy Kenny Pickett, whatever the case may be.
Right.
Are we looking at a situation? I'm not even sure that those guys last as long as Stafford did in Detroit. You know what I mean?
For me, it has to be a guy who can move around in the pocket and can do a little bit more than. So I'm probably moving Kenny Pickett out of that situation. It's got to be a guy who, if it ain't there, he can just take off and run. Or
you ain't see Pickett. You ain't see Pickett do the fake slide on him. You ain't see that one.
Listen, listen. In the NFL, though, they probably you're down, bro. You're down. But we'll see a rule change here shortly for college football. But yeah, it's got to be a guy with some legs, ability to move, run around, extend plays. Kind of maybe even have to stand a lot of that times. You know what I'm saying? Until you can get the full talent on that offense. And hey, they may do that this offseason. You know what I'm saying? I know you're saying, it's not Detroit ain't a destination place, but you know what I'm saying? If you can show, you know what I'm saying, in terms of what the plan is, you know what I'm saying? And obviously they're at the bottom of the division and things like that. But if you can show that, hey, this is this is a place to be because here is the plan. You know what I'm saying? And you can bring those talented offensive players in. It's possible. But yeah, man, I don't. Maybe I'm just tired of seeing Detroit you know what I'm saying? When Detroit's on TV Thanksgiving, come on, bro. Doesn't matter who they're playing, bro. Like I don't want to see that, bro.
But that's my point, though, man. That's my point right there.
But
listen, they had a guy in Stafford for a year.
But listen. He was sexy from a standpoint of the arm. When I'm talking arm, I'm talking legs. I'm talking, you know what I'm saying? Like Showtime, like camera action. You know, Stafford wasn't quite that. He wasn't a statue back.
I understand your point. I understand your point. I just don't know that you know a dual threat quarterback with this supporting cast, you know, and you're out here trying to because everybody else's salary cap's going up as well. You understand what I'm saying? And you're out here trying to bid for free agents. I just don't know that's going to bear fruit, that you're going to be able to take advantage of that rookie contract. We know because we've seen it over the years. We've seen it play out time and time again. Certain quarterbacks, they take enough of a beating early on in their career and they're done.
Yeah.
Confidence in the toilet, in the cellar, every rebound. In fact, that is the number one issue with quarterbacks failing, is that they don't have the coaching that's necessary and they don't have the supporting cast that's necessary. So, like I said, you know, Stafford was your one draw for a very long time. And it came with very little, you know, positive outcomes. Very few and far between with respect to that. Like I said, I can't stress this enough. The man literally broke his back. You understand what I'm saying? I get it. Jared Goff does not excite you. He's not moving the needle. I completely understand that. But I don't believe there are any quarterbacks in this class, at least to this point in my evaluation, that there's any quarterback in this class that is so far and above everything else that can withstand what they currently have in Detroit. I'm actually more in favor of taking the best player available at the top of this draft and perhaps doing something, you know, with that second first round pick and becoming a little bit more aggressive to find the quarterback that you might want. If you like a guy, you can get aggressive and make your way up and try to get that quarterback. But if you're lukewarm, you know, you like guys but you're not in love with them, go get the best player available or trade down. I'm entrenched in that. Not because I don't think that teams should go get their guy, right? But in this case, as this roster is currently constructed, they have question marks at every position group. Every single one. And we're going to drop a rookie quarterback in there who has his flaws. Right?
Right.
And expect him to thrive in a year or two, because coaches, like, I don't know how much of a reset, especially if you go into it this second year. Let's just say Detroit ends up 1-15. Dan Campbell and his staff, they go into this second year and they're starting a rookie quarterback. I don't know how much of a reset you're going to get with respect to that. You know, if you come out next year, you build up this roster a little bit, you're more competitive, you're pushing 5-6 wins, then you go get your quarterback, maybe we're having a different conversation now. You understand what I'm saying? That's just kind of my thought process.
I hear you, bro. But that ain't moving the needle, bro. That's not moving the needle for me. Sure. I would love to know Detroit fan, Lion fan, let me say that, their take. What would they do? Because that's really interesting. And maybe you might be right. Maybe we go Thibodeau, Hutchinson in the second round. We grab Sam Howell and we run it because you know I do like him as well. So that's not or you trade up to get him if you know.
I mean, you got 2 first round picks. You could work some. You have the Rams pick. Rams pick.
It'll be at the bottom somewhere.
Yeah, it'll be in the lower portion of the first round. But you know, I'm comparing this class to last year's class. Do you expect these 4 quarterbacks to go in the top 15 picks?
I don't know, man. Senior Bowl does a lot, bro.
It's true, and you got you got several of those guys playing in the Senior Bowl as well. This conversation could be very different. You know what I'm saying? Come the second week of February, this could be a very different conversation. I definitely understand that. But as it stands right now, yeah, man, I'm not trying to drop no young quarterback into this mess, man. I just don't think it's conducive to success, and the league expects success quickly. Yeah. That's the thing, man.
Yeah. Let me ask you. Let me just throw a curveball in there.
Sure.
There's still another team in there. You feel the same way about the Texans?
Do I feel the same way about the Texans?
So you feel like we could drop a quarterback into that?
The Texans situation, I think David Culley has to have a quarterback. Yeah. Right? I think there's so many question marks, and don't get me wrong, it's not as if Dan Campbell's is beyond reproach, but I just, after the whole Deshaun Watson situation, you know what I'm saying? I think they definitely need a quarterback. I think they definitely need a quarterback too. I'm not opposed to Detroit, Houston taking a quarterback at all. I just think that in Detroit's case in particular, you're so bad at so many so many areas of your team.
That's player available.
You know what I'm saying? So, like you said, I'm glad you brought up the Texans. We'll stay right here for a minute. All right? I'm glad you brought up the Texans. They had Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson, by any measure, had a phenomenal 2020. Didn't win many games.
Yeah, it's true.
Didn't win very many games, man. It's a team sport, man. It's a team sport. I get it.
But here, listen though. Who is he throwing the football to, though? You see what I'm saying? I feel like if you do the right things in free agency, and Houston is a better location than Detroit, obviously, just in terms of the city and that's there and all that.
Yes, absolutely.
But it's like,
no, they traded Hopkins away. They traded.
You know what I'm saying?
Like that was just pure malpractice. That was just pure malpractice. But to your point, who is Deshaun Watson throwing the ball to? And despite that, Brandon Cooks, he had a phenomenal season. You know, but the reality is that there isn't one quarterback in the 2022 class that I would have taken over Deshaun Watson. You know what I'm saying? So like you said, we're gonna go ahead and get us a good look at these quarterbacks at the Senior Bowl. We will be on location and really get a sense of what we're dealing with here. You know what I mean? The tape obviously doesn't lie, but I do not get that impression, including Malik Willis, as gifted as he is. I don't get that impression in terms of him being able to raise a team quite like a Deshaun Watson did. Yeah, and you may not necessarily agree with my statement because he played at Clemson, but you see what Clemson looks like when they don't have a star quarterback. There'll be, upcoming videos where we kind of compare this past class, this 2021 quarterback class, to this upcoming 22 class after the Senior Bowl, of course, and get a sense of, does this class have a guy or two that, you mortgage the farm on, or you like, you know what, this is our guy, this is our franchise. So this past year, we had Urban Meyer, all right, go get your Trevor Lawrence, right? New coach, go get your Trevor Lawrence. The Jaguars simply do not have a face of the franchise. It was Gardner Minshew, effectively, right? Go get your quarterback. All right, the Jets, they are divorcing Sam Darnold. Go get your quarterback, right? Okay. The 49ers, they realize that Jimmy Garoppolo has certain limitations. Go get your guy, Trey Lance, all right? Obviously, none of those guys are having success. None of them. Right? Lance isn't on the field, and the top two, their supporting casts are so bad that even if they are playing decent, it's hard to tell. But they've had their struggles, right? They've had their lumps. Okay. I think free agents would rather go to Jacksonville. I think free agents would rather go to New York, right? I think it's easier to build that. It's been proven. It's already been proven. Just look at the history of it. It's been easier to build that up. Go get your guy and then try to put it around him. Although that may not necessarily be ideal. You know what I'm saying? Lawrence could very well get his head kicked in over the course of the next couple of seasons, and we never see the player that we think we were going to get out of him. Same thing with Zach Wilson. If the Jets can't get all the moving parts in place, although I think the Jets are a little further along, right? Then we could see Zach Wilson kind of being a journeyman. It's happened. It's happened to more talented guys. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't know. I'm of the mindset that there's a lot of different factors, a lot of mitigating factors, and specifically as we talk about Detroit, an organization that has a long history of failure, for lack of a better word, right? And like you said, the worst roster currently of all 32, the worst roster. I need talent.
Yeah.
Simply dropping a quarterback in there that I think has, let's say a dual threat with a high upside, to me, yeah, it grabs the headlines, it makes things a little bit more interesting. But when he's getting his head kicked in,
Matter.
doesn't matter.
I'm with
Doesn't
you.
matter.
I'm with you. I'm still gonna do it.
I know. I'm aware. That's gonna do it, folks. Like I said, get down in the comments. Let us know what you think. What would you do if you're the Detroit Lions? You have the first overall pick, and of course, you have that later first round pick, the Rams pick in the first round. Would you trade down? Would you take a quarterback, or are you taking the best player available? Let us know down in the comments.